beautiful people of the internet. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully great, and welcome back to Some Warframe. In today's video, we're going over the top 5 most forgotten Warframes of 2021. This was a requested video by a subscriber. His name is Cot. Shout out to you and thank you so much for requesting this video. But before I continue with the video, please spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos, and let's do this. So starting off with our number 1 spot, we have Frost Prime, aka the golden aged abominable snowman. Now Frost Prime, he is definitely one of the oldest primes that were released in the entire game. I'm not going to tell you where he stands when it comes to that skill, because I do know he's very close to Ember Prime, and Ember is definitely old, but take my word, he's just old. Anyways, Frost Prime, he is definitely an underrated Warframe, and his abilities do kick a lot of power. Like, they'll be fine until like level 40 to 60, around about there. I wouldn't really push past 60, because then you're just going to be a lot weaker, because Frost does have powerful abilities, but not for like highest level missions, if you guys know what I mean. So no, he's not weak, but I would say that his kit only suits those for old school Warframe, not modern day Warframe. You know, back then when we had completely different damage, we had a completely different parkour style and a parkour system. So much has changed back then. I feel like Frost is one of those frames that they need to go back and rework him. But nah, all in all, Frost is a pretty powerful Warframe. He's more of a defensive one. He is pretty armory, so he is pretty tanky, so he's got pretty high levels of armor. But I'd say he definitely does need a rework when it comes to modern day Warframe. So coming in at number 2 spot, we have Valkyr, aka the Berserker of Warframe. Given the current state of the game, melee weapons are meta. This means that Valkyr is easily one of the most powerful frames in the entire game. The reason behind this is because of her kit, particularly an ability called Warcry. So what Warcry does is, when you guys activate it, Valkyr will get an increase in armor and attack speed. Yes, you'll start swinging your melee weapon a lot quicker and you're harder to kill. Then, the enemies that get affected by Warcry, not only will they have their armor reduced, but also they will be slowed just like Nova Prime's Molecular Prime, if that makes sense. So all in all, Valkyr is extremely powerful because of how strong melee weapons are and because of Warcry. If you guys want to know exactly how to build her, don't worry, I've already made a video on her. I'll leave a link down in the description, and I'll suggest it to you guys at the top right. Go and take a look. So coming in, our number 3 spot is Limbo, aka the Master of the Rift. Now, throughout the years, Limbo has gained many names. Meme Frame, the True Trickster, the Troll Frame, you guys name it. He's gained all sorts of names, but all these names have one thing in common, and that is true hatred. In fact, at one point he used to be known as the most hated frame in the entire game. Now, the reason behind this is because back then Limbo was different. He wasn't what he is now, but back then, before his rework, what he would do is he would put you in the rift and you could not get out of the rift. Yeah, sure, you could not take damage, but here's where the real problems came out. Because while you guys were in the rift, you were not able to pick up your resources and you couldn't really do anything else. You couldn't interact with your objective, you couldn't revive your teammates, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Then DE decided to rework him, that way he becomes less annoying, and right now, in my honest opinion, I think he is really awesome. In fact, I think he's probably easily one of the best frames when it comes to defense missions, if it's only against the Infested or the Grineer. Not the Corpus, because the Corpus nullifiers can be a real pain and they can always just shut off your bubble. So yeah, go ahead and try Limbo. Go get his Prime. The Prime version looks a lot better and it's a lot easier to go and get. And ignore what everyone else says. Limbo is a great Warframe when it comes to protecting objectives such as defense or a singular point in interception. So coming in at our number 4 spot is Nyx, aka the Mind Control Freak. Now, Nyx works very similar to Nova. The only difference is, instead of just slowing down all the enemies in your effective range, what's going to happen is Nyx will then turn all the enemies against one another. Hence why that ability is called Chaos. Now, Nyx, definitely an underrated frame, I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't say she's better than Nova, but she does give Nova a run for her money. So if you guys want an alternative to Nova, go and get yourself Nyx, Primal or regular. The builds are still the same. I feel that Nyx is one of those underrated frames, because when it comes to crowd control, people are always going to go for the best. But yeah, Nyx is definitely another option, or another alternative for Nova. So I highly recommend you guys go and pick it up. And finally, on our number 5 spot is Banshee, aka the Mistress of Death or the Mistress of Silence, whichever name sounds cool to you guys. So essentially, Banshee is a type of frame that has high risk, high reward. And what I mean by that is Banshee can deal a lot of damage, and we're talking scaling damage here, or she is very, very squishy. So Banshee has this ability called Sonar, and what Sonar does is that you can reveal the weak spots of any affected enemy. Now, here's where this ability gets crazy. You can spam Sonar as many times as you want, so long as you guys have energy. Now, the crazy thing about Sonar is that because you guys can spam it as much as you guys want, you'll sometimes get weaknesses that get focused on one particular area. You shoot it and bam, the enemies are dead. You'll see millions in the damage numbers. Now, here's a problem with Banshee. Now, she is very, very squishy, okay? She does not have any abilities that can keep her alive, and what I mean by that is damage reduction abilities such as Nova's Nullstar or Nyx's absorption ability. No, instead she's got this ability called Silence, and what it does is it temporarily disables the enemies and you can execute the enemies on the spot. However, the animation or the disabling part for the enemies only lasts for a couple seconds. After that, you have to run away or recast it, which you can't. So in other words, Banshee does not have any damage reduction abilities, and she is very, very tanky. Sorry, she is very, very squishy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today's video. So that is the most forgotten Warframes of 2021. If you guys like this video or if it's helped you, leave a like. Remember to spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. I'm gonna make like a banana and split.